Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. So I am back from my vacation, and yes, I cut off my nails. So I had really long nails for the whole trip, but since I'm back into reality, I have to type at work, okay? And I can't type if my nails are too long. So I had to cut them off immediately as soon as I came back. It was definitely well worth it, though, when I was on my trip. These are acrylics, you know? Now they're all short, but they were so cute. So from my last video, I heard a lot of great feedback as to how I can help to all of those who are starting their shaman journey, or you've been on your shaman journey and you're still really struggling. So I've decided to release tiers for you guys. So there are going to be different levels of tiers for membership through my shaman channel through YouTube. And there is a shaman help tier. So with that tier, I plan to host live Q&A sessions once a month with you guys to really hopefully bridge that disconnect for you. Maybe you're going to consider starting your journey and you just want to know what these videos are all about. Feel free and also consider signing up as well. And these videos, they will be exclusive only to members. So everybody else who's not a member will not be able to access them. However, these videos, they are designed more closely for those who are wanting to become a shaman. You are a shaman and you're struggling. So check out the description box for more information. I am back, you guys. I am back from vacation. It was beautiful. I highly recommend everybody go to Miami. Everyone go on a cruise. It was absolutely fantastic. I discovered on this trip just how beautiful and romantic Miami is. It really is, you guys. Granted, there is such a disparity in income in Miami. We stayed in the Brickell area and South Beach, Miami when we were there. So it was definitely the really wealthy side of town. However, that aside, it was magnificent, you guys. I never realized how romantic water is. For some reason, it's never dawned on me. Because, you know, like in Minnesota, we have lakes, you know, we have the Great Superiors, you know, we have rivers. It's not romantic. In my mind, it was never romantic. And then we go down to Miami and I'm with my boyfriend and I'm like, oh my God, everything here was so romantic. They had so many restaurants with outdoor seating. Granted, it was beautiful weather when we went, but there was so much outdoor seating. There were so many trails. So many things by the ocean and the beaches. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend you guys, if you have a significant other, go to Miami. It is so freaking beautiful there. You will just fall in love all over again. And the cruise, okay, we are completely spoiled now. All right, like I feel like we went a little bit too all out on this trip because now we're gonna compare all of our future cruises to this cruise. And you know, we paid all the extras. We got cabanas on the island. We did all of it and it was worth every penny, you guys. Literally unlimited Starbucks, unlimited drinks, alcohol, or just fresh squeezed orange juice. There was just so many things. Food everywhere, just always cooked, always prepped. No cleaning whatsoever. They cleaned your room once a day. And everyone there was so friendly. We met and made friends with so many crazy, new, fun people. It was an amazing, it was like one of the best vacations, hands down, I've ever been on. We are planning on going again for a longer cruise this time. And we plan on going on a much bigger ship. I want to go on Icon of the Seas next. All right. I'm calming myself down now. So... for anybody who's wondering, in case you're like, for us, we were kind of nervous about getting seasick and stuff. If you are a very sensitive person to motion, like where you get car sick and stuff like that, or you get sick on the plane, etc., you probably will get sick on this trip. However, you will feel the ship moving. Like, for example, when we did the sail away party on the first day, we're sailing away from Miami. You feel it. You feel, you know, like I heard from so many people. Half the people were like, oh, you don't feel anything. The other half was like, well, you'll feel it a little bit, but you won't really notice it. So I definitely believe you feel it. Okay. There was only one day. I did not get sick on this trip except for one day I did not throw up or anything. I did not need medication. We were sailing away from Nassau in the Bahamas, and it was a super windy day, and the boat was rocking. I was getting dinner, and literally I was like walking like a drunk person because there was so much movement on the ship. There was just so much movement, and it only lasted for about a couple of hours, and then we went down to the casino. So, you know, you will feel it if it's very high winds when you're out there. That was a super, super windy day. And thankfully, when we went to Coco Cay, which is an island that's owned by Royal Caribbean, we went to the adult hideaway and we had a cabana there. So we were in an alcove where thankfully we were blocked by the wind. We did not feel the wind at all. But then my younger sisters, they were supposed to go jet skiing, and that actually got canceled because it was so windy. And we were like asking the attendants, what do you mean it's windy? And they're like, we don't feel it here, but everywhere else on the island, it is super windy. So thankfully where we were at, it wasn't windy. It was just perfect, you guys. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And all of you guys probably saw my pictures on social media. I posted all my wonderful vacation photos there. I had such a fantastic time. Now, I always get questioned on how do you protect yourself, especially if you're about to travel, right? So I've done a whole video on protection, especially if you're about to travel, all of the different things that you can actually do to try and protect yourself. What I am about to tell you, what I did, it is not recommended, okay? So remember my last video, I talked about what is the exception and what is the rule, okay? The rule is pretty much everyone. The exception is extremely rare scenarios, okay? What I do when I am going to travel, again, it is the exception. It is not the rule. And I definitely do not intend to glamorize it whatsoever. For me, it's different because of the different abilities I have, okay? So for the majority of the population, what I'm about to tell you what I do when I travel, it is not recommended for you. And the reason for that is you need let me just tell you what I did and then I'll go over that. So if you forget everything about me, just remember, I am the queen of negotiations. Literally, okay? So when I am going to travel, I will usually tend to look for a very strong entity where I am headed. And I expect them to protect me. So when I had my shrine, you know, like what I would do with my shrine, I would have my spirit guides protect me, right? But my shrine is down, you guys. I don't have my shrine anymore. So what I then do is I negotiate. So negotiations is not something that I feel everybody is equipped to do. It's not that as easy as just having a conversation. You have to know some of the rules that happen around negotiations, or else if you break any of it, they don't have to uphold their end of the bargain. So it's one of those very finicky things where your spirit guides have to tell you and forewarn you and prepare you so that you know how to do the negotiations. And everyone will negotiate differently. And it was funny because I was telling my younger sister about this, and she didn't really understand what I was doing. And I told her that this is part of the negotiations. And then it dawned on me that people don't realize this is part of the negotiations. So entering into negotiations, okay, so I negotiated with the dragons in the Caribbean. And the negotiation went well, as y'all can see. However, I am trying to stress the importance of not just doing something, right? I don't know if I'm getting through to you though. So you have to know what you're doing, or else you're basically bargaining with the devil. You know, like you need to have something that they want or they're afraid of, right? So there's only two ways here. So, you may have seen, or maybe you've heard of it. Other people have spoken about it. Spirits on this plane of existence are very, very dirty and dangerous because they play by different rules than had you gone into the spirit world and did something. Okay, so they play by completely different rules. And when I'm talking about the dragons or the guardians of the Caribbean, it is not heavenly. So you need to understand these are spirits and entities of this plane of existence. So what do you have that they would want? Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. You have to barter and negotiate something with them. And what I do is, because they are always alarmed whenever I go anywhere, spirits are always alarmed. Like, what is she doing here? What's she gonna do? So they're always curious. What am I gonna do? I'm not doing nothing. Okay, I'm just here to visit. But it's not that believable. Okay. So I usually have to greet the owners first. And then we begin the negotiations. We go through all the rites that we have to do together. And then they offer me a gift. So when I went there, this was before, okay. I got to remember how I word things too, because my sister was confused during my conversation. This is before I even got on the plane and I went on my trip, okay? I have to do the negotiations before I arrive. It does not work if I'm already there, okay? All bets are off if I'm already there. So I have to do the negotiations. And what happened was they offered me 4 items, right, as a gift. So whenever I go and I do these negotiations, I see these dragons, etc., they always offer me a gift. And so they offered me 4 of them. And in turn, I only accepted 1. So because of what I did back to them, right, this is what do they want? What do they need? What do they fear? Okay, so I gave them back something else. So then since I only took 1 of their gifts, in exchange, they allowed me total protection throughout the whole trip, and I could take 1 item. All right, so that is a huge deal, you guys, okay? I could never take things. They allowed me to take 1 item from the Caribbeans. And yes, I spent a great deal of time debating about what I was going to take. Oh my God. So I need to tell you guys this quick story, okay? I was obsessed with drinking out of a fresh coconut, okay? I heard that our ship had fresh coconuts. There were no fresh coconuts to be had, okay? And then I thought, okay, for sure, Coco Cay, they would have fresh coconuts. There was no fresh coconuts to be had. I didn't trust our attendant, so I went to go find the bartender. I swam up to the bartenders and I asked them, where are your fresh coconuts? They looked at me like I was crazy. They've never had fresh coconuts. But other people online have told me that they have had fresh coconuts on Coco Cay and on their ship. So yeah, I thought that was my thing I was going to take, you guys, in case you didn't know. I don't care about seashells, okay? I don't want no animals. I wanted that coconut. So what was the 1 item I ended up getting? Money. So I ended up gambling on the ship. So all of the ships, they have casinos at the bottom. And I have never played blackjack before. Like, I'm not a gambler, okay? I'll play the machines, I only like machines that are very colorful and they have a lot of surprise mini games, okay? I find those very entertaining. So on my first night, I was winning all this money. And then I had this conversation with my family and I was like, you know what? I'm really afraid of playing at the tables. But my sister was like, no, the tables are a lot of fun. But because I don't know how to play, I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up for some of the gamblers. And it's a big deal, right? Because this is like $15 minimum per round, okay? You got to bet $15. It did get to the point where I felt like these were just fake poker chips you have at home. But it was because I kept winning. I did really well on the trip. So I was, and then at the end of the trip, I remember I was holding all of these tokens in my hand and I saw a dragon's hand holding the coins and I heard a voice, this is what I'm allowed to take. And I was like, okay, cashing out here. So I cashed out. Man, now these dragons, okay, like I'll admit they completely surprised me. Okay, like they are the friendliest and the nicest dragons I've ever come across. Like there are a lot of dragons who are not very as talkative. They're more serious. And then you're going to have dragons who are very playful, but you know they're up to no good. But these dragons were like of a different level. This is a different level, you guys. Like, I have never met a dragon like this in Minnesota, in California, which I frequent a lot, not even in Vegas. These dragons, not even in New York, okay, you guys, these were of a different caliber. That's all I can say. It was a completely different caliber. It was, their community is massive, okay, just absolutely massive. And it used to be ruled by their mother, and then she had a son, and it was given to the son. And I remember when I met the son, you know, it was really creepy, but he followed me the whole trip, you guys. Like, okay, I remember this is when on the flight. This is on the flight from Minneapolis all the way to Miami. He came to me in my dream on the plane, and he was talking to me, and he's telling me all these things, and then all of a sudden he stops talking, and then he's sitting, but he's not looking at me. Okay, he's sitting in front of me on a chair, and he's looking away from me, and I remember I'm sitting like this, and I'm looking at him, and then he's talking and explaining all these things. It's like he's telling me a story, right? He's telling me a story of where they came from and their timeline, and then all of a sudden he stops. And he turns and he looks right at me, and he stands up and he goes, "You have 53 minutes and then you're going to land," right? And then boom, I wake up, I go and I check, I have 53 minutes and we're going to land. They were so freaking talkative, you guys. There were moments during my trip where I am just, oh my God, you know, I'm on my cruise, I'm on my vacation, I'm drinking, I'm having fun, I'm with my family, I'm with my boyfriend, and then boom, they come right in front of your face and they're showing you things, they're telling you things. I will be in mid-sentence, and then all of a sudden my head will just go, and I'm like looking up and I see the dragons. It was very, very intense because they are so in your face kind of a thing. But I had a fantastic time. They are just super friendly. I don't know how else to explain it. Man, I remember every night they would come into my dreams, and I was exhausted every night, you guys. I mean, like, first off, the day before we flew like on the red eye. We boarded at 5:30 in the morning, okay, you guys. But that was literally on a Saturday. No, Sunday morning. Because then my niece's wedding was on that Saturday. And I had to leave by 8:10, 8:30. We had to leave the wedding. Because I had to get up at 1 in the morning just to get ready to go to the airport. You know, like, a girl's got to do her whole face. You got to do her hair and everything. Finish packing up all my last minute stuff. Getting ready to get out to the airport. We left the house like at 2:30 in the morning. We get to the airport. We put everything in. We go and we get coffee, and we're just hanging out and chilling. And then we get onto the plane, and then we were literally up until midnight that night, you guys. And then we got up like at 6 in the morning to get ready, because then we had to have breakfast, pack up everything again, and get ready to get onto the cruise ship. So we had an 11 a.m. boarding time, and we had to get there like, we left the airport, the hotel around 10:15 in the morning. And then we met up with so many people, and then we were just, it was wild. But what I was trying to say is, every day we were getting up like at 6 or 7 in the morning. We were going to bed like at 1 in the morning. One night I was up until 3:30. Another night up until 2:30. The latest I slept in was on a random, it was like a day at Nassau, and I slept in until 9 in the morning. But other than that, every day we were running on such little sleep, right? So you would think you would just knock out, okay? Nope. Every night I went to bed, I dreamt of them. They would come and they would talk to me and tell me all sorts of things. And they were just super informative. Like, they were just voluntarily giving information. Because then there was one time when we were at Coco Cay, and we rented a cabana there, and we We were there super early. It was like 9 in the morning, okay, you guys. And we're drinking, we're enjoying the pool. The food is amazing there, by the way. And if you ever go to Coco Cay, get the jumbo coconut shrimp. Just get it. And the fish sandwiches. Okay, I'm a sucker for fish sandwiches. Oh my god, it was so good. The burgers are good. The pizza was good. Yeah, I didn't really care for their mozzarella sticks. They were a little salty, but everything else, chef's kiss. Okay, what I was trying to say was, we had a long day. We were taking tons of photos. We went out to the ocean, and then I started to get tired, right? So like we're all kind of chilling. It's like around 2 in the afternoon now, and everyone's kind of winding down. We're all, finishing up our food and finishing up our drinks, and we're laying on the in front of the cabana, our sun chairs, and we're all laying there. And then I remember I started to get really tired, like I was gonna take a nap, right? And then as I was like, my sister was next to me, Molly. She was sitting next to me. She had fallen asleep. Okay? I remember I was getting ready to fall asleep too. And then I heard this voice that told me, do not fall asleep here. It's not safe. And I know Molly's going to see this, and she's going to get so mad and tell her because I let her sleep. But I'm awake. I'm watching. But that voice told me not to sleep on the island. And I woke up. I'm like, I'm wide awake now. Yeah, it was, they're just so talkative. And they're just so friendly, you guys. And the whole time we're on the cruise ship, as we're going, I can see him. I could see him under the ship. And this is the owner. He's under the ship, and he's from a distance. He's watching the ship the whole time, you guys. And then when we were done with the cruise, I cannot go back. Like, there's this thing that I do whenever, it's kind of like how I start negotiations, right? I can take myself spiritually and go to a place. I cannot go back into the Caribbean. And it's so dumb, but I've tried many occasions, okay? I've tried on many occasions to try to go back, to try to see, can I get back into the water? I can't. What happens is I will see him, and he will tell me, goodbye, I will see you next time. And I cannot get back into that water. I don't know what it is, but basically my time there is done. That was part of the deal. I have no reason to be going into their water, is what they're trying to tell me. So yeah, that was very interesting. Now, I will say that there are ghosts all over the ship, but none of them ever felt strong or really threatening. I felt completely fine. Would I travel alone around? No. Okay, like, there was one moment where, this was probably the only time. It was when we were at Nassau, and I went to the very back end of the ship. I walked all the way over there because I wanted to see that side of the ship, right? Because when we were at Coco Cay, there was nothing to see. But here, there was the whole town of Nassau to see, and the bridges and everything. So I walked all the way over there by myself because a couple of my party had gone to Nassau. And there was this feeling that I should not go to Nassau. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Nassau. I'm just saying, from the dragons who talked to me, they told me not to get onto the island. So I didn't go, okay? So I stayed on the ship. And when I went over there, I got this like creepy feeling, because there was a lot of people who were not on that ship, right? Because a lot of people had gone onto the island to go and explore, etc. But when I went over there, I remember I went over there and I came across this family, and I offered to take their photos. And so I knew I wasn't alone, right? They are right next to me, but I had this really creepy feeling by myself. And then I quickly left, okay? So I was not going to stay there very long. I just took a quick photo and then I left. So I remember there just wasn't a lot of people, but there was that family. And I felt like just the chills, like something like I shouldn't be there. That was probably the only time I felt that. But again, for the most part on the ship, I was never alone other than in my room, because then my boyfriend might still be out at the bar or something like that, and I went upstairs to get ready for bed. But he was like, I mean, he had less sleep than all of us combined. He didn't even sleep the day of the wedding going to Miami, and he didn't even sleep on the plane. And so he stayed up the whole 2 days. And then he every night he went to bed like at 3:30 in the morning, and he had so much FOMO, you guys, because I was literally telling him, look, babe, you don't have to go everywhere I'm going. Like, just because you see me getting ready and I'm trying to make this certain time to get to breakfast, to get to this and that, you don't have to. You can sleep in, you know? But he had so much FOMO. He was like, I'm up. And like, he would just wake up and start chasing me. But I'm just like, I don't know what it was, but he was like, he needed to see where I was, making sure I was safe in case I'm like, why do you act like I'm going to jump off the ship or something? But I think he's always suspicious that I'm up to no good. I think he had more fun than we did. Because my boyfriend, he's such a person who can make friends with anybody and everybody. He can talk to everyone. You know, he is not somebody who stays in the circle of the group. He will just walk around. He knew so many people on the ship where I'm like, oh my God, you've talked to too many people now. All right, now we're back in Miami, okay? So the cruise is over. I had a fantastic time. I'm gonna go again, but we decided to go and get our palms read. So we went to the Psychic in Brickell, and again, Brickell is near South Beach, and it is in downtown Miami. It's a very nice area. So we were looking up like psychics, etc. We all wanted to get our palms read. And, you know, like for me, I'm a supporter of the arts. So I go for giggles. You know, I just go for fun. I know that the people who I'm with, they definitely want to go and get theirs read, see what they see as well. And so we all went, and it was probably like, it was $75 a person. However, we were able to negotiate to $70 a person. And then I gave her a tip anyway. So, you know, but either way, I am a huge avid supporter of the arts. If we find a palm reader or a tarot person, I always like to stop in. It's just nice to support them and also to see what other people do and what they see and what they hear as well. Now, what did I see? So there's actually 2 sisters, and one of them I felt, and this is all my own opinion, okay, I felt that they were like gypsy, sort of, like that is kind of like their lineage and where it comes from. But one of the sisters, she's the main psychic, and I could tell that she was the stronger one. And then the other one was also very gifted as well. However, I remember because there was 4 of us, later on there ended up being a 5th person, but there's 4 of us and we all wanted to get it done so they can only take 1 person at a time. And her sister came and she did the other session with my other sister. Now, I knew that I was going to get the main psychic, okay? And we had my younger sister go first, and then the sister of the psychic came. So then I had my other sister go first. But then, one of my other sister also wanted the main psychic. And I was like, no, that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem going to the sister of the psychic, right? But then all of a sudden the sister of the psychic comes down and she tells me that I cannot go upstairs because my energy is going to mess up her reading with my current sister. And it's funny because I've had other psychics tell me this too, that when I'm around, I tend to throw people's readings off because of my energy. So they need me out of the building, okay? But I didn't care who it was that I saw, but then the sister of the psychic said, no, my sister wanted to do your reading. And I'm like, great. So, it was funny though, because then when I ended up having my session with her, I walked up the stairs. It's like a big building, brick building with a bunch of other businesses there. And I remember I walked in and there was this man standing against the corner of the room. And then she sat at this white table. And then as I sat down, I saw a black spider on her table. And I looked, it was a spiritual spider. Okay. I looked down and the spider was gone. And then at one point, the main psychic, she sneezed. And when she did, I saw this woman with a cloak over her head, like an elderly woman standing in front of her, right next to her. And I remember she told me that when she sneezes, there's a saying in her belief that it means what I'm saying is the truth, you know? And so it was definitely interesting going to get my reading done with her, because I felt like I learned a lot of similarities with the Hmong people and a lot of differences. Okay. So we were kind of talking about, whenever I go to see anybody who's gifted, I always am upfront with them, and I always tell them, you know, like I was a practicing shaman for many years. I've since put my shrine down. And she was very curious about the Hmong community and about our gifts and where do we get it from. But then I talked about how we use animals in our rituals, and her eyes were all big. And she was like, oh, no. She only does crystal and light type of healing. Okay. I'm pretty sure I sounded demonic as heck when I said that. But yeah, she was like, no. We only use like candles and crystals, and when they do light work is what they do. But I remember before my session, I was yawning like crazy, right? And my sisters kept asking me about them. And I was like, no, I feel like they do have spirits that do tell them things. However, they also have something that's a little dark with them. And I do sense that the main psychic, she has something chasing her and she's trying to run from it. But I do sense that they have something dark because they use it as a form of protection. I mean, you're in Miami, you know. It's a big city. And you're in a very wealthy, affluential neighborhood. Like, you know, you're going to run into things where you're going to need to have to protect yourself, just like how shamans do, right? So, because we also had met up with another psychic reader, palm reader in Sacramento. Yes, it was Sacramento. And she felt like pure white light, right? And then these two sisters, though, they felt more like they had psychic abilities, but they also had something dark with them too. So that was also very interesting. And then what I also learned was that sometimes she was saying things that were opposites. And I know that this is true also for Hmong shamanism. Your spirits will often tell you things that are the opposites, and you have to be able to tell what they're trying to tell you and what they're trying to say. So, you know, like I've told you guys before, sometimes, you know, my spirit guides will show me really intense scenes, but it means something not intense at all. You know, like the whole freeway in front of me is on fire, right? It's because there's a cop in the corner. Okay, like that's what they mean. But they kind of go to the extremes sometimes. So she was actually being told the opposite of things. And it was one of those things where she was telling me like, oh, you know, I need to work on being able to kind of like close myself off and protect myself from other people's energies, right? And I told her, oh, okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden she said, but you do it a lot. Like you cleanse, you protect yourself a lot. Like she literally paused and looked at me like I was crazy, because then she was like, a lot. And I was like, yes, because I do that a lot because of all the ghosts around all the time. So I'm always swinging my Godzilla sword. Like I just like walking around whistling. So she was like, yeah, like you do that a lot. And I'm just like, So it was interesting where I felt like she definitely saw some things, but it was not like the other palm reader who I felt her clairvoyance was more true and it rings with a pure light. Whereas these two sisters, they definitely are, they do have abilities, but being a psychic is not all that they are. So when the differences, in case you didn't know, when that is not all that you are more so going to be stronger at different things. And for them, I felt like they did say that they never go into the spirit world. right? Or they will always try not to, which is a smart thing. So they seem to have a fear of the spirit world just because you don't know what else is out there, right? If they don't have the training, they don't have the teacher, they don't have all of this knowledge from generations, which they go to church. So they don't have that. So it's harder for them to be able to grasp and see that other side. Whereas for shamans, a lot of times we come from lineages and lineages and lineages. All that we did was practice this. So that is the biggest key difference here. And then definitely, I felt like she was kind of being told things or feeling things, but I don't think she knew how to decipher it back to me, because I feel like a lot of times that comes with, it's that saying I tell you guys, sometimes it's an image or a word or a feeling, but it makes no sense to you because it's a message for the other person. And she is the third psychic person who has seen my boyfriend. She didn't even ask me if I had a boyfriend. She just knew. She was like, she is the third psychic person who's seen such great energy that comes from my boyfriend. And, I hear people think that they're good people all the time. It's harder than you think to be a great person. I think certain times with certain people, you may have good intent, but could you have that intent all the time? Could that be your true intent, right? And there is a different light. There is a difference. If you are somebody who can read people, like I'm very good at reading people, and there are certain people who I don't like, but they've never done anything to me, ever. They are always the sweetest, nicest person to me, but I just cannot stand them. Just go away. Because my spirit guides and we are very good at reading people, and we just know, you have an energy that we do not want around us, or you are a person we do not want around us. So it's hard to explain it when it is just a feeling, such a gut instinct, and you just know. And I know, with my boyfriend, she saw it too. She was like, he's a really great person. We're very supportive of each other. And he truly, truly is. It being somebody who's like me, it's not easy to be with, especially those who are single and you are going to become a shaman, or you are a shaman. It is very difficult, trying to navigate that fine line of a relationship, knowing that you're gifted and how would the other person perceive it, especially if they are not Hmong as well, right? But, my boyfriend will go to the end of the world. He better. He will go to the end of the world for my happiness. And, it means a lot, and she completely saw that too. But I think that it was definitely such a fun experience, right? I always, as advice to you, if you ever want to go and get yourself read, or you want to go and see people, I highly recommend you do it. But when you go, definitely be open, because the experience is for you. No one else gains anything from it except yourself. And I think that sometimes people forget going to get themselves read just to see what they're going to say, etc. People forget how to be vulnerable, right? Because again, you're paying for the session this time. When you're very closed off, you are very much so, you don't want anything. It's harder for the other person to read you because you're being so closed off, and you are the one who's going to lose out of the session versus the other person, right? So that is something that I always like to give people advice, especially if they've never done it before. A lot of people get very nervous going to get themselves read, but it's definitely, what do you want to gain out of it? Don't tell them everything about you, but that person, whoever it is that's looking at you, they should be able to pick up and read things about you that is true only to you. So I hope that helps. I had a fantastic time out in the Caribbean. I am definitely going to go again. I highly recommend you all go as well. Do my other forms of protection, you guys. Go look at my other videos. Do not do what I did, because if you do that and you don't know what you're doing, they can hurt you, they can curse you, and others that you know, meaning your lineage, you know, they can do whatever they want. And there is nothing you can do about it. So that is why I do not recommend anybody who has no negotiation experience, or if you don't even know if you're certain you did it, don't even do it. Be careful out there, you guys. So until next time,